Hello bass family and welcome to Everything Bass. Hey, so I did an intro to percussive slap video a while back and it got some good comments. Some people messaged me wondering if I could give some samples of how percussive slap can be used. And I thought that was a great idea. So what this short series is going to be is I'll outline a percussive slap groove that is just the percussion. There's no fundamental notes. It doesn't define a chord or doesn't stay to a key. It's just clicks. And you get used to doing that, and then you can start taking out some of the percussive elements and putting in fundamental notes and building actual bass lines. And that's the fun of it. So if I can just get that first domino to fall by giving you some bedding tracks, if you will, some percussive loops that you could play, and then you yourself can experiment. Now, I'm not going to throw you in the deep end without a lifesaver, so I'm going to give you some variations. Like today's lesson, I'll show you the percussive loop by itself with no fundamentals. Then I'll show you how to add in simple little notes, but I'm not going to go too far because I really want it to be a catalyst for your own creativity. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you can actually download the sheet written in standard notation and tabs, so don't worry if you can't read sheet music, showing you the basic percussive element with all the notations as like it's a muted thumb, it's a muted pop, whatnot. And then I'll show you at least a couple variations to get you started. And again, the link is in the description below. So you're welcome to go over to my Patreon page. It's only $8 a month. And once you do that, you can actually download all my content, all the written materials that support the videos. So I'd really appreciate the support. Okay, so let's get to the basic track. It's a 12/8 track. And it starts with 5 actions that you're going to repeat over and over again. So really, when you see it that way, and honestly, I should say that the intro, what you heard me playing, is today's percussive track. So if we break it down to 5 actions that just repeat, it should be something you can grab a hold of pretty quickly. The first is a quarter note muted thumb, followed by an 8th note. And without context, that just sounds like I hit the bass twice. But it's like a one, da, bum, da, da. It's a kind of shuffle. It is a shuffle feel. Just muted thumbs. But we're only going to do 2 of those. We're going to go bum, bum. Now the next thing we do is we play 3 8th notes together, and we're going to pop with our index finger on the D string, a muted pop, another muted thumb, and then with our middle finger on the G string, a muted pop, and that's just like that. So we go bum. I'm sorry, should not be a real note. Let me do it really slow. So thumb, thumb, pop, thumb, pop, thumb, thumb, pop, thumb, pop, thumb. Now, some people have asked me, could I just pop the D string or the G string both twice? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. What I find is that quicker tempo is by dividing the popping between 2 fingers, I can be smoother. It's a lot more easy to sound relaxed than trying to move that finger or whatnot. So, also, there's a different tone to the muted D string and the muted G string on every bass, not just my bass. So by not just doing 2 muted Gs, you get a little more depth to the percussion. And faster. Cool. So that's the basic percussive track. Now let's add in the first and the easiest, adding a fundamental note, so where we actually define a root, in this case an open E. So we're going to just take the first of those 5 actions, and we're going to play an open E, and then keep the rest the way they were. Slowly, it sounds like this. Thumb, mute, pop, thumb. A little faster. A little faster. Like that. All right, so that's pretty easy. The second variation, we play that loop just like we did it, an open E, then the 4 muted notes, 3 times. Boom, taka taka boom, taka taka boom, taka taka da. And on the 4th, where we would normally play it 4 times, we're just going to play a G to an A, 3rd fret to the 5th fret on the E string. Play that slowly. Now, you're not limited to those 2 notes. I picked them kind of just random. But you could pick any 2 notes. You could do an F sharp to a G and define more of an E minor sound. Just experiment. Get crazy with it. You could also change it every time you come to it. Like I could go. just, you know, moving that around, but keeping that percussion, the percussive loop kind of just unaltered. You don't want to make a change like adding a thumbed open note and disrupt the flow. You want to keep that that consistency, again, like a drummer playing hi-hats. You know, you need that perception that those hi-hats never stop. Even though he's dropping this hand to hit the snare and coming back, it's because he's fluid, or she is fluid, that we get the perception that that hi-hat never changed. Not that it dropped out, but that it kept going, and somehow drummers are magicians. All right, so we've got that one. Now the last one I want to show you really hints heavily at one of my heroes' bass lines. But I don't want this thing demonetized. Well, I'm not making money with it anyway, but I just don't want to. This is inspired by a famous bass song. Put in the comments below if you've figured it out. But all we're doing, same thing. We're playing the 3 percussive loops the same. Now we do a cool little thing. We play with our thumb a C sharp, hammer on to the D, pop an open G. Okay? Then slide up and do a D to an E, hammer on, open G. Kind of beds in really well with the first part. And that's the third variation. There are countless variations. I mean, you don't have to play an open note. You could change it to a key. You could play a fretted note on the downbeat. You could really look to try to get the spirit of a true scale out. You don't even have to use just these techniques. So it's something to really play with and experiment with and mess around with. But drop back to just playing this and try and make it as consistent possible. Just let it flow. And then add in notes. And if you find that you've added something in and it got a little shaky and the groove got disrupted, pull it out, return, kind of get to 0, go back to just playing the percussive slap, and then try it again. Usually that's caused by just being still unfamiliar with the mechanics behind the percussive slap groove. Just a little more time, a little more attention, and you'll get it down, I'm sure. The other thing too is if you're practicing for a long time, you're just really into it, which is good for you. You might notice that sometimes keeping, as like you've been practicing for a couple hours, you might find that percussive slaps are real shaky, and usually that's fatigue. And I really encourage you to take a break at that point. You're kind of risking hand injury, one. If you're that fatigued and you're continuing to try to slay the dragon, you can actually hurt your hands. But you just might get frustrated unnecessarily, where if you just take a break, pause, get up, do something else, come back later, your hands are more refreshed, you be more inspired, and I think things will go better for you. So what do you think? Is this something you want me to explore? I really use the likes, the thumbs up, and comments to kind of guide me as to what videos you guys would like me to shoot. So let me know. Is this something that you find interesting? Is something you want to add to your playing? If so, I will generate more and look forward to hanging with you. So sisters and brothers of the bass, thank you so much for honoring me by taking this time to watch this video. Please let me know if you have any suggestions for the channel. Anything that I can do to help you be better bassists is what I want to do. Thanks, and I'll see you at the next video.